Airplanes are great ways for accessing hard-to-reach areas. And as such, Flight Simulator 2020 opens up infinite possibilities of extremely interesting locations to visit. Chernobyl, Ukraine then, is one such area. Whilst there's clearly a lot of terrible and tragic history here at Pripyat, flying over the location really doesn't give much indication of that. For all intents and purposes, the place looks peaceful and the forest and landscape is truly stunning. But we're not here to look at nature, rather we're here to look at Chernobyl and the nearby town of Pripyat. Here in the plane we're looking at the VFR map, and Chernobyl is located on the lake's left tip, so we're going to turn towards that and head in that direction right now. You can see the massive open expanse here, forest absolutely everywhere. Waterways and roads are also scattered throughout the entire region. Now if you look out the window here, just to the left of the dashboard, you can see a smaller cluster of buildings. We're going to jump into Big Maps for a moment and have a look at exactly what that is and get a feel for where we are. So here's the lake I mentioned just now. Over on the left we can see Chernobyl, and north of Chernobyl is Pripyat. Here's the power plant. Keep this image in mind because we'll be having a look at this in the sim in just a moment. We're actually flying over this location right here to the left, and we can get a bit of an idea for comparison's sake. So obviously in the background, this is in the sim, up in the top right is the satellite imagery. We can see the buildings are pretty accurately represented, aside perhaps from the slight ruins there on the bottom of the map, which still is a fully intact building in the sim, but still close enough. Very impressive actually. Now here is the bridge that crosses the river Pripyat over to a Chernobyl power plant. You may notice that the bridge here has a slight problem. It goes underwater. This happens from time to time with the new Flight Simulator. It's not a massive issue, but you will come across it occasionally, even in some of the cities, but overall not a major issue. Across the other side of the bridge here we're doing a flyover of the infamous power plant. Now you may have noticed that the new safe confinement is not in position here. It's very likely that Microsoft Flight Simulator is using older imagery here because the safe confinement is still under construction to the east of the power plant, and we'll see that in a little bit when we get to some slightly higher up aerial photography. And I'll have a look at that in just a moment. We'll shoot all the way up into the sky to get a nice top-down view. But even without the safe confinement in position and completed, the rest of the area looks to be very accurate. All the buildings are where they should be, and even some of the trees. What the issue with the safe confinement does highlight though is that from time to time in various places Microsoft Flight Simulator does use older imagery, but due to the fact that Flight Simulator is so heavily tied into Big Maps, which is regularly updated, then it would perhaps suggest that the sim is likely to be frequently updated and improved as time goes on. I also took the ability to use the drone camera to go way up into the sky, and you can pretty much go as high as you like here, at many tens of thousands of feet. Okay then, moving away from Chernobyl, it's time to take a look at the town of Pripyat. We can see that above the dashboard there in the distance, and from this perspective right above the plane we should be able to see the iconic amusement park. That isn't represented in the sim, but just about everything else actually is. Now trees are absolutely everywhere here. The forest doesn't merely extend all the way to the horizon, but it also completely overwhelms everything. That, however, doesn't prevent you from making out details. It's very easy to see each individual building. It's also possible to make out the roads here. Now, getting a little closer to the buildings, we can see they use Flight Simulator's AutoGen technology. That is, these are generic buildings that Flight Simulator is placing where it thinks they should be according to satellite imagery. And it actually does a very good job, but it does mean that some places like the amusement park here are not quite where they should be. Now on another note, you may have noticed that there's been a huge amount of Flight Simulator videos released over the past few days. There is one YouTube channel I'd like to recommend, and that is Oz Flight Simmer. There's a link in the video description, do go check it out, highly recommended. And on a final note here, it seems we're not the only people visiting Chernobyl at this particular time. On occasion, you'll find the odd car passing through. Who knows what they're looking for? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.